to Spectrum News this week. I am Uyai Anyeka coming to you live from Uyo, the capital city of Akwa Ibom State, Nigeria. Let's take a look at the major stories. President Bola Tinubu seeks governors' support on priority areas for development. Federal government says student loans begin September-October. Plus, Belarusian leader Lukashenko says Belarus will enter war if shown aggression. We'll bring you details of these stories and more in a moment. First in the news within the week is from the national scene, where President Bola Tinubu had called for the support of state governors in the task of turning around Nigeria's economy. He stressed that significant steps had been taken by ending the fuel subsidy and unifying the foreign exchange rate. Tinubu made the call at the inauguration of the National Economic Council (NEC) in Abuja. Tinubu also listed 8 priority areas for urgent attention and called for collective frameworks that would stimulate a buoyant economy that meets the needs of the poor and vulnerable. The president assured the governors that the administration would address issues that devalue the lives of Nigerians with a focus on security, economy, jobs, agriculture, infrastructure, monetary policy, and fuel subsidy. Tinubu urged NEC to stimulate ideas through robust discussions that would improve the livelihood of Nigerians while highlighting the exigency for interventions on poverty. The president further noted that the 3 tiers of government would need to be involved in economic development in order to ensure inclusiveness, collectivity, and ownership of policies and programs. Meanwhile, President Tinubu during the week approved the indefinite suspension of the chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, Abdulrasheed Bawa. The suspension was to allow for proper investigation into his conduct while in office. The president directs Bawa to immediately hand over the affairs of his office to the Director of Operations in the Commission, who will oversee the affairs of the office of the chairman of the Commission pending the conclusion of the investigation. In the meantime, the president in the course of the week expressed sadness over the boat mishap which occurred in Kwara State, claiming many lives. The president's commiseration was contained in a statement by his Director of Information, Abiodun Oladunjoye. Reports say the boat accident led to the death of over 100 people who were wedding guests at the Egbu village in Patigi local government area of the state. Meanwhile, President Tinubu within the week also signed the student loan bill into law, an aid to the president daily free rates. In a related development, the federal government during the week said it had begun putting all necessary measures in place to ensure students' loans begin between September and October of 2023. The Permanent Secretary, Federal Ministry of Education, Andrew David Adejo, who revealed this while speaking to newsmen in Abuja, said already President Bola Tinubu has approved a committee made up of ministries and agencies to see to the realization of the students' loan bill he recently assented to. According to the Permanent Secretary, the law is to provide easy access to higher education for indigent Nigerians through interest-free loans from the Nigerian Education Loan Fund. Adejo said the bill is to make sure that every Nigerian has access to higher education through what we call the Higher Education Nigerian Bank.
Thank you very much.
Away from that, the Nigerian Communications Commission (NCC) in the course of the week directed mobile network operators (MNOs) and internet service providers (ISP) in the country to comply with regulatory frameworks put in place by the Commission towards ensuring security and safety of their networks for telecom consumers. The Executive Vice Chairman and Chief Executive Officer of NCC, Umar Dambata, gave the charge at the 2023 annual Nigeria Digital Sense Forum focused on internet governance for development in Lagos. Addressing stakeholders at the event, Dambata said one of the regulatory frameworks put in place by the Commission was the Internet Code of Practice (ICP) for telecom industry, which was essentially to protect the right of internet users to an open internet and provide clear guidelines to internet access service providers on the use of traffic management practices. He said the Internet Code also outlines the obligations of Internet access service providers in relation to the protection of consumers' personal data, as well as lists the obligations of Internet access service providers in the handling of offensive and potentially harmful content and the protection of minors and vulnerable audiences online, among others. In a separate development, the National Economic Council (NEC) within the week said that it considered recommendations from the National Salaries, Income and Wages Commission to pay 702 billion naira as cost of living allowance to civil servants as part of intervention plans to mitigate the effects of the discontinuance of petroleum subsidy as announced on May 29, 2023. The governor of Bauchi State, Bala Mohammed, disclosed this to newsmen after the inaugural National Economic Council meeting at the Aso Rock Presidential Villa. Mohammed also revealed that the intervention included a recommended sum ranging from 23.5 billion naira to 45 billion naira per month as petroleum allowance for civil servants. According to the returning governor, the council also received other suggestions to review salaries and wages.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. We have just had our maiden meeting of the NEC, National Economic Council, and so many issues were discussed and resolutions were made on some issues. Some issues were sent to various committees for more deliberations. Part of the issues that we discussed today is palliative measures to mitigate the effect of the petroleum subsidy through the NGK's program. As you are aware, NGK's program is a program that have started 2021, running up to 2024, and then is to provide some emergency and palliatives social needs on so many issues ranging from small farmers holders, MSMEs, and other interventions. It's a 750 million USD from the World Bank, and it has commenced a long time ago. And some of the recommendations that were made include the state case platforms have a strong capacity to handle the implementation of palliatives to the new and existing poor and vulnerable individuals, household and farmers, local economy operators in the country. Additional funding can be sourced from the federal government, World Bank, development partners, as well as Nigerian private sector. In specific, the World Bank can be approached for additional financing on NGK's program. Discussion can start as soon as possible. So these are the recommendations that were made, and the Economic Council will pursue these recommendations for the benefit of the Nigerian vulnerable and the poor. Thank you very much.
On security, the Nigeria Customs Service had announced that it intercepted over 100 smuggled exotic vehicles, including various models of sports utility vehicles, in the first quarter of 2023. The Deputy Controller of Customs, also the coordinator of Rapid Response Squad Headquarters, Jack Okwabi, disclosed this to newsmen while providing updates on the service's quarterly achievements. He noted that the federal government had fortified 38 of the intercepted vehicles. Okwabi urged stakeholders to synergize with Nigeria Customs for efficiency. According to him, the operation would lead to the federal government's recovery of over 400 million naira. Meanwhile, the National Agency for the Prohibition of Trafficking in Persons, NAPTIP, during the week said no fewer than 25,000 trafficked Nigerian women and girls are trapped in Mali. The commander of the Benin zone of NAPTIP, Nduka Nwanene, gave the figure at a workshop organized for media professionals in Lagos. Nwanene said the workshop was to develop the capacities of the participants in creating awareness about the dangers of human trafficking. According to him, NAPTIP's investigation into the category of victims revealed that they were attracted to Malian men because they spend more money on women compared to Nigerian men. He added that NAPTIP arrested over 9,102 human traffickers, out of which 604 were convicted, while 20,660 victims were rescued between 2004 to May 2023. In another development, the Nigerian Labour Congress (NLC) within the week called for policies that would bridge the economic inequality gap to address the increasing rate of child labour across the globe. The NLC President Joe Ajaero said this while addressing journalists at the 111th session of the International Labour Conference in Geneva, Switzerland. Ajaero said that the issue of child labour was a global phenomenon that is not peculiar to Nigeria alone. Now, according to him, it is the degree and the dimension that vary from country to country, state to state, and from time to time. He highlighted some factors mitigating the issue of child labor in Nigeria to include parents not working and some state governments not paying minimum wage. In a related development, the United Nations Children's Fund (UNICEF) during the week called on the government and other stakeholders to exploit the opportunities of digitalization offers for the learning and development of Nigerian children. This comes as the nation joins other African countries to commemorate the African Child's Day. In a statement issued by the UNICEF representative in Nigeria, Christian Wandert, the agency lamented that the disruption of education by school attacks has made millions of children to significantly miss out on learning, noting that about 10 million children are not in school at the primary level. Manduet, while stressing on the 2023 theme, the rights of the child in the digital environment, noted that attacks on schools and the abduction of learners exacerbates the challenges as parents have become fearful of sending their children to school. The statement further disclosed that UNICEF had collaborated with the Federal Ministry of Education to launch the Nigeria Learning Passport (NLP) last year, an online, mobile and offline digital learning platform powered by Microsoft that enables continuous access to 15,000 curriculum-aligned learning and training materials in local languages for learners, teachers and parents. It said it was to bridge the access to quality learning opportunities, adding that since its inception, the Nigerian Learning Passport has provided access to quality teaching and learning resources to 280,000 learners, teachers, parents and young people. Away from that, the United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres in the course of the week offered condolences to Nigeria over the boat mishap which occurred in Kwara State. The spokesperson for the Secretary General, Stephanie Durajic, stated this at a news conference at the United nation's headquarters in New York. Similarly, Durajik said Guterres recalled the horrific numbers of deaths that took place in the Mediterranean in 2022 as counted by the International Organization for Migration. Reports say the boat accident led to the death of over 100 people who were wedding guests at Igbo village in Patigi local government area of the state. In education, the Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board (JAM) within the week disclosed it paid a total sum of 1.5 billion naira to earners of non-JAM computer-based test centers nationwide for services they rendered during the 2023 Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination. JAM made this known in a statement by the Director of Public Affairs and Protocol of the board, Femian Benjamin. Benjamin said it was only proper to promptly settle obligations as when due, so as to promote and sustain a cordial working relationship with partners who discharge their duties creditably. Meanwhile, the JAM body, in collaboration with tertiary institutions, would on June 24 fix the cut-off marks for admissions into tertiary institutions. The cut-off marks would be adopted at the 2023 policy meeting on admission into tertiary institutions. Head Public Affairs and Protocol JAM Fabian Benjamin disclosed this in the weekly bulletin of the board in Abuja. JAM added that the meeting will discuss, among others, the acceptable minimum admissible score to be applied in all admissions to be undertaken by all tertiary institutions in Nigeria. In a separate development, international organizations Global Fund during the week said it has approved about $1 billion to assist Nigeria in the fight against tuberculosis, malaria, and human immunodeficiency virus (HIV), as well as acquired immunodeficiency syndrome (AIDS). The organization noted that the approved money was for the next 3 years, with the implementation plan commencing from January 2024. In a statement by the Director of Information Office of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Willie Bassi, the country portfolio manager Nigeria, Dr. G. Nobosi, said out of approximately 110 countries, Nigeria is the highest beneficiary of the Global Fund grant. Nobosi added that Global Fund was working with country coordinating mechanism in ensuring equitable disbursement of funds to countries affected in the fight against tuberculosis, AIDS, and malaria around the globe. Back here on the home front, Luxury Global Resources, a multifaceted and prestige company with a commitment to providing unlimited luxury products and services, had unveiled a new resort in the Temekpo local government area of Akwa Ibom State. To celebrate the new villa, some top Nigerian entrepreneurs and celebrities, Obi Cubana, E-Money, the Prime Minister of Cubana Group, Lucky Luciano, Ned Woko, the Real Estate Mogul, the Capital Luxury Ambassador in Edo, Hilda Bassi, and others took a 3-day getaway trip to the Capital Luxury Villa hosted by the CEO of Capital Luxury Group, Edidiong Udoidiong. Reports say a luxurious feast was held at the Capital Luxury Villa, where the guests were treated to the full complement of the villa experience, showcasing the traditional Akwa Ibom hospitality, culture, good music, good food, dances, amongst other activities. With Nollywood celebrity and ambassador of Capital Luxury in Edo, immediate past commissioner for tourism, and immediate past special assistant to the immediate past governor of Akwa Ibom State, Udom Emmanuel, on entrepreneurial development, Mefri Nawana, a cross-section of Akisan members, and Chef Hilda Bassi, among others, in attendance.
Tourism in Akwa Ibom State experienced a boost over the week when some top Nigerian entrepreneurs and celebrities took a 3-day getaway trip to the Capital Luxury Villa, a new resort designed and built by Capital Luxury Homes for tourists who are seeking a high-end travel experience. The resort, which is located in a Temecula local government area of Akwa Ibom State, provides privacy, space, and luxury amenities in traditional hotels, giving tourists the chance to enjoy a luxurious home-away-from-home experience with porter services, daily housekeeping, private chefs, providing a personalized and comfortable travel experience, vacation home rental, including private tours, transportation, and other high-end services. Hosted by the CEO of Capital Luxury Group, Edidiong Udoidiong, and his wife, Ime Edidiong Udoidiong, celebrities like Obi Kibana, E-Money, the Prime Minister of Kibana Group, Lucky Luciano, Ned Nwoko, the real estate mogul, the Capital Luxury Ambassador in Yedo, and Hilda Bassi, among others, they were taken on a tour of the newly commissioned maintenance, repairs, and overall MRO facility at the Victor Ota International Airport, as well as around the Capital Luxury Customer-Centric Facility and Bus Terminal located at number 18 Itam Street, the transportation arm of the company. In his remark, Obi Kibana said Capital Luxury is a one-stop shop for a broad spectrum of businesses across the country and said he would love to do more business with the Capital Luxury Group. On his part, E-Money noted that the buses are high standards and has served as flight alternatives for his road trips over the years, as well as that of many Nigerians. Commenting on the MRO built by the Akwa Ibom State government, the CEO of Capital Luxury, Edidiong Udoidiong, stated that the facility is state-of-the-art and would enable aviation business to thrive, adding that it will encourage Capital Luxury Air fly more clients conveniently into the state and at large. Meanwhile, Capital Luxury Group has signed a business deal with Kibana Group to become the sole distributor of Odogu beaters and other related products in Nigeria's south-south states of Akwa Ibom and Cross River respectively. The deal was signed at Capital Luxury Villa and puts the brand in a pole position to market the luxury drink to patrons and new consumers. Reports say luxurious feast was held at the Capital Luxury Villa, where the guests were treated to the full complement of the villa experience, showcasing the traditional Akwa Ibom hospitality, culture, food, music, and dances performed by different cultural troupes, among other activities, with Nollywood celebrity and ambassador of Capital Luxury in Yedo, past commissioner for tourism and immediate past special assistant to immediate past governor of Akwa Ibom State, Udomi Manuel and entrepreneurial development, Meflin Awana, a cross-section of artisan members, and Chef Hilda Bassi, among others, in attendance. Francis Edit, reporting for Spectrum.
Meanwhile, residents of Uyo, the capital of Akwa Ibom State, and Nigerians generally had within the week been called upon to see blood donation as their civic responsibility of saving lives. A consultant and dermatologist, University of Uyo Teaching Hospital, Dr. Timothy Ekwere, made this call while speaking with Spectrum Television on the importance of blood donation to mark the World Blood Donor Day. Ekwere said the day is aimed at celebrating and thanking individuals who donate blood and also encouraging more people to become new donors as often as is safe and possible. The pharmacist, while stressing on the 2023 theme, Give Blood, Give Plasma, Share Life, Share Often, highlighted the process involved in blood transfusion, noting that an individual can only donate blood 4 times in a year. World Blood Donor Day is celebrated annually on June 14 to raise awareness on the need to save blood and blood products and to thank voluntary unpaid blood donors for their life-saving gifts of blood.
And it's a day that is set aside first to create awareness, or as it were, increase awareness about the importance of blood donation. Because in the event of emergency in which an individual will require blood, it is pertinent and very important that this is available. 2, very second importance for the day is to celebrate and thank all those who have been voluntarily donating blood. The key word there is voluntary, because if it's not voluntary, then you cannot be categorized as blood cannot be categorized as being safe. In our local community here, I will say that the number of voluntary donors still suboptimal, even though it has improved from what it ought to be. Though there is some improvement, still falls below the WHO accepted level, which is
still to come in the news. Man says manufacturers lose 10.1 trillion naira yearly to power crisis. Stay tuned for details and more after this time out. Thanks for staying tuned, and now to the rest of the news. In Africa, United Nations Chief Antonio Guterres, in the course of the week, said he's appalled by reports of large-scale violence in the Darfur region of Sudan. The UN chief spokesperson Stephanie Dujarric said Guterres has called on all warring parties to stop fighting and commit to a durable cessation of hostilities. Dujarric said the UN chief is highly worried about the increasing ethnic dimension of the violence, as well as reports of sexual violence. With nearly 9 million people now urgently requiring humanitarian aid and protection in Darfur, he stresses the need for an end to looting and widened access so aid can reach those who most need it. Elsewhere, Eritrea within the week said it is ready to work toward peace, stability and regional integration after it rejoined the East African Bloc, the Intergovernmental Authority on Development (IGAD). The country's information minister Yamani Meskel said Eritrea resumed its activity in IGAD and took its seat at a summit organized by the seven-nation bloc in Djibouti. Meskel said the decision comes nearly 16 years after the politically isolated state pulled out of the bloc. Reports say the East African nation, led by 77-year-old Isaias Afwerki, who has ruled for 3 decades, had suspended its IGAD membership in 2007 after a string of disagreements. In the meantime, South Africa's National Assembly during the week passed a controversial bill to introduce universal health coverage in the country. The South Africa's Health Minister, Joe Phaahla, hailed the approval of the bill as a historic step for the legislation that had been in the pipeline for 12 years. Meanwhile, the leading opposition party, the Democratic Alliance (DA), allegedly fears that the already overburdened public health system will collapse if the new legislation comes into force. The opposition denounced the move, saying that 9 million of the 60 million South Africans who have medical insurance would have to be covered by an already overburdened public health system. Still in Africa, officials in Sudan had within the week said that the governor of the West Darfur region, Khamis Abakar, had been reportedly killed by the paramilitary Rapid Support Forces (RSF). Reports said Abakar had accused both the RSF and allied militias of committing genocide against people from the Masilite ethnic group. The governor, who was killed in El Geneir, had warned that the attacks had spread across the country and called for international intervention. Elsewhere, the International Criminal Court (ICC) during the week said it will look into allegations of war crimes by armed groups in the east of the Democratic Republic of Congo. This comes after the Congolese government made a new formal referral to the ICC over violence involving M23 rebels that has displaced around 1 million people in North Kivu province. Reports say the ICC has already convicted 3 former militia leaders over conflict in DR Congo. Recall that President Felix Tshisekedi, as well as UN investigators, have accused Rwanda of backing the group, which relaunched a rebellion there in late 2021. On the foreign scene, Belarusian leader Alexander Lukashenko, in the course his country has started taking delivery of Russian tactical nuclear weapons, shorter range, less powerful nuclear weapons that could potentially be used on the battlefield. According to him, some of the weapons are 3 times more powerful than the atomic bombs dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki in the Second World War in 1945. The Belarusian leader, who has reportedly allowed Russian forces to use his country as a base in the invasion of Ukraine, has said that the nuclear deployment would act as a deterrent against potential aggressors. Meanwhile, Bloc Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg during the week said NATO's support for Ukraine is making a difference on the battlefield. Stoltenberg said the gathering of NATO defense ministers in the Belgian capital comes at a critical time. According to him, one of the main issues NATO ministers address is how to step up support to Ukraine and further strengthen NATO's deterrence and defense ahead of the upcoming NATO summit in Vilnius, Lithuania. Elsewhere, Japan's age of consent had been raised from 13, among the world's lowest, to 16 years old, as lawmakers passed key reforms to sex crime legislation. The reforms, which also clarify rape prosecution requirements and criminalize voyeurism, cleared Parliament's upper house in a unanimous vote. Meanwhile, campaigners have welcomed the reforms, with the Tokyo-based group Human Rights now calling them a big step forward. The group said in a statement that the lifting of the age of consent in particular will send a message to society that sexual violence by adults against children is unacceptable. Still on the foreign scene, China's President Xi Jinping within the week informed Bill Gates that China had always placed its hopes in the American people after the Microsoft co-founder's foundation pledged $50 million to help Chinese efforts to battle disease. Bill Gates, one of the world's richest men, is the latest in a string of Western business leaders to visit China since the country ended strict COVID controls that largely closed it off from the world for almost 3 years. Reports say the visit is Gates' first to China in 4 years. On our business news, the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria, MAN, during the week said the country's shortage of electricity supply has been identified as a hindrance to the profitability of manufacturers, with an annual economic loss valued at about 10.1 trillion naira, about 2% share of the country's gross domestic product. MAN noted that the unfavorable situation has positioned the country among the worst countries to do business, with a rank of 171 out of 190. The manufacturers made the claim in a statement in which it reacted to the assenting of the electricity bill by President Bola Tinubu. According to MAN, the current power supply is inadequate to satisfy the energy requirements of the manufacturing sector and the entire population. The association, however, noted that the Electricity Act of 2023, if well implemented, promises to be a major game changer for the manufacturing sector. MAN further expressed optimism that if properly utilized, such huge revenue can bridge the infrastructure deficit in many states without imposing further tax burden on manufacturing. Opposite money banks to remove the rate cap on the naira at the official investors and exporters window of the foreign exchange market (FX) to allow for free float of the national currency against the dollar and other global currencies, according to the chief executive officer, CEO of a commercial bank, who confirmed the development. The newsman said banks are now allowed to trade forex on the I&E window at any rate subject to ₦1 spread. The CBN's decision to float the currency was hailed by the organized private sector and economists, who said the move would unify the country's multiple exchange rates and sanitize the foreign market. Reports say the development find comfortable in the market as part of the previous practice where rates were dictated by the Central Bank of Nigeria. Elsewhere, National Bureau of Statistics (NBS) during the week revealed that consumers of goods and services and companies paid about 1.18 trillion naira, a slight increase from the 1.14 trillion naira that was raised in Q1 of 2022. It said the 1.18 trillion naira was raised from value-added tax and company income tax. The National Statistics Bureau added that manufacturing, information and communication, and mining and quarrying sector. Still in business, the Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries, OPEC, within the week said that the country's economy may recover in the coming months, though it has faced challenges in the first half of the year. The group, in its latest report on the monthly oil market, said the recovery would be hinged on Nigeria's Purchasing Manager Index for April, which recovered strongly to 53.8% compared with 42.50%, and consumers' purchasing power remained low, in addition to high input cost inflation and lower employment levels compared with 2022. OPEC said food inflation had been a key factor in the rise, adding that despite the challenges, Nigeria's PMI recovered strongly, indicating a potential near-term recovery. Still to come in the news. Scotland beats Norway 2-1 in Euro 2024 qualifier. Stay with us for details after the break. Thanks for staying tuned, and now to conclude the news this week. In health, the federal government, during the course of the week, said it will soon introduce the human papillomavirus vaccine into the country's immunization schedule. The Executive Director, National Primary Health Care Development Agency, Dr. Faisal Shuaib, disclosed this at the second quarter review meeting with Northern Tradition and spare individuals from unnecessary suffering and ultimately save lives. According to him, the introduction of HPV vaccines by the federal government signifies the agency's commitment to promoting preventive health care and empowering population, especially young generation, to live healthier lives. Reports say that HPV is a commonly transmitted infection that can lead to various health issues, including cervical, anal, and oropharyngeal cancers. Meanwhile, the federal government within the week implored Nigerian youths to engage lives and treat life-threatening diseases. The Permanent Secretary, Federal Ministry of Health, Folorunsho Adebiyi, made the call during a press briefing in Abuja. The Permanent Secretary, who was represented by the Acting Director General, National Blood Service Commission, Dr. Omale Amedu, noted that the Global Health Report showed that Nigeria needed an average of 2 million units of blood annually, adding that if the target is met, the country would keep the health of its over 200 million citizens safe and sound. In the meantime, the Director General, Nigerian Institute of Medical Research, Professor Babatunde Salako, during the week said that Nigeria had made notable improvements in the health sector. According to reports, Salako disclosed that despite the notable improvements, the sector was faced with challenges that include poor infrastructure and electricity, among others. The DG, however, noted that the country had fared in health research and more funds be made available to enhance health research that would proffer solutions to health issues that are peculiar to the country. He added that the establishment of a medical research council would help to scale up health research in the country. Still in health, the Kebbi state government in the course of the week expressed concern over rising incidents of rape and revealed that 39 cases were recorded within 6 months alone. This was made known by the wife of the governor, Haji Jiria Kebbi chapter, paid her a courtesy visit in Berin Kebbi. The figure was disclosed by the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Women Affairs, Aisha Marukata. The governor's wife described the figure as alarming, noting that rape remained an ugly trend in gender-based violence cases and that the state needs the support and cooperation of all to eliminate it. She urged the state government to take appropriate measures to reduce the menace and punish perpetrators. In sport, 2 late goals from Lyndon Dykes and Kenny McLean maintained Scotland's perfect start to Euro 2024 qualifying as Steve Clarke's side stunned Norway in Oslo. Erling Haaland's 53rd goal of the season from the penalty spot just after the hour mark looked to have given the livelier Norwegians a victory, which would have revived their Group A hopes. Victory kept Scotland top of Group A on a maximum 9 points, 6 clears of Spain, who have a game in hand, and 8 in front of a devastated Norway. Meanwhile, Scotland will be facing Georgia on Tuesday, June 20th at Hampden, where a win would take them to within touching distance of a place at back-to-back European Championships. Have made a late adjustment to their squad ahead of today's clash against the Super Eagles of Nigeria. According to the Sierra Leone Football Association, Lamine Conte has replaced Joseph Cleveland. Reports say Cleveland will not be available for the game due to administrative issues. Still in sports, Super Falcons captain Onome Ebi within the week said that he is confident the team can reach the semi-finals at the upcoming 2023 FIFA Women's World Cup in Australia and New Zealand. Ebi said the West Africans' best achievement at the FIFA Women's World Cup was a quarter-final finish at the 1999 edition hosted by the United States of America. The 9-time African champions were eliminated in the round of 16 by Germany 4 years ago in France. The captain, who was included in the 23-woman squad unveiled by head coach Randy Waldrum today, reiterated that the Super Falcons make it to the last 4 this time. The Falcons will be facing Australia, Canada, and the Republic of Ireland in Group B on July 20. On our entertainment news, Nigerian gospel singer Mercy Chinwo during the week won the Best International Act at the 2023 Premier Gospel Awards in the United Kingdom. The singer, who shared the award picture on her Instagram page, expressed her gratitude to God, family and friends. Reports say the Premier Gospel Awards, which was held at the Cadogan Hall in Chelsea, London, successfully celebrated its 50 years of gospel music. Elsewhere, the newly released Transformers: Rise of the Beast within the week enjoyed a great opening at the Nigerian box office. Data from the Cinema Exhibitors Association of Nigeria shows that the 7th installment in Paramount's action franchise earned 35 million naira from June 9 through 11, 2023. Directed by Stephen Caple, the PG destroyed the entire planet. Reports say reviews across the world have been mixed, but the numbers show that audiences appear to be enjoying the film, which stars Anthony Ramos and Dominique Fishback. Still on entertainment, Universal's Fast X during the week led the Nigerian box office with 32.6 million naira. Since its debut in Nigeria on May 19, 2023, the action movie has earned a total of 254.56 million and is still franchised in topping the chart despite remaining in local theaters for 3 weeks. Reports say the movie has made over $630 million, worldwide, and the sequel is scheduled for release in the second quarter of 2025. And that's all we have for you at this time on the news this week. A recap of major stories. My name is Uyai Anieka. Thanks for watching and do enjoy the rest of your weekend. Of course, a very happy Father's Day to all the men out there.